Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Joe, here with me is my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
And today we are going to be doing a kind of review of Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, which is a really stupid name, but, stupid is as stupid does, as Forrest Gump once said, which describes Zack Snyder perfectly. So, the thing is here, let's get into the wokest, most dumb movie probably of this year. This is just such a bad movie. We did not watch it, thankfully. We didn't want to lose any brain cells. Because if you even try to watch this, you'll lose brain cells. It's Zack Snyder. It's just a given. So instead, we're going to mock it and clown on it by reading IMDb reviews for fun. Why? Because we did really well with this kind of video last time. So here we go. Dan will read the first one, and yeah, let's go, Dan. Top review is a 4-star. Made no sense.
Made no sense. Watched both the parts together. I have no clue how my brain is functioning properly. Positive. CGI, costume design, cinematography. Negative. Pretty much everything else. Script, story made no sense. Seems like a high school kid wrote it. Expected better from Snyder. I didn't.
That's
Dialogues
Dan.
are trash. Acting is non-existent. Even the most emotional scenes are laughable. It is just like an old western where a group of people band together to fight a common enemy, except this movie takes place in space. The movie added nothing new, just copy-pasted this stale idea. I am not sure why Zach was so excited for this movie. The first part was watchable. It sucked. The second part made no sense. Watch it only if you have time and brain cells to kill.
Okay, my turn. Okay, 4-star. Said nothing, did nothing new. Oh, this guy. As a huge Snyder fan, I can easily say these Rebel Moon movies have sucked. Wow, when a Snyder fan says it. Anyone who's seen anything before can see the same storylines and character types just copied and pasted into this world. The first hour of this movie was pointless. So much slow motion scenes of hay being harvested. Man, just overuse of the slow mo. Did Snyder forget he made part 1 because the first hour was just retelling part 1 over again? What's the point of part 1 as a setup if part 2 is also more setup? Didn't care about any characters. Watching heroes with plot armor stand in front of hundreds of enemies and never get hit, but then instantly shoot 20 in a line. Okay, it's just this guy doesn't have the best familiarity with punctuation. Yeah, that's lame. 0 stakes. Slow mowing during every action scene on repeat is such an old trick now. Like, we get it, Zach. You love it. But it takes away all the urgency of the action. After loving 300, Watchmen, Man of Steel, BVS, and Snyder League, I can truly say I'm not excited for Snyder movies after that Zombie Army and Rebel Moon 2 part trash fire. No doubt the crazy Snyder cult will love the movies because they can't be objective. I doubt they truly ever liked his other movies and just love the cult more. Yeah, that's fair.
Wow.
Yeah,
When the Snyder fan comments that.
Yeah, I know. Next one is yours, Dan.
4-star. Bad movie. I so wanted to be positive about it, but it is so bad. The budget has been blown on special effects and no script. It's like one of these rip-off B movies you get on the free-to-view movie channel. I just don't understand why it was made. The creator and both the recent Godzilla films are far superior to this. The only reason I am giving this a 4 is for some of the special effects and action scenes. The acting is so wooden, especially when they tell each other about their past. Part 1 is superior, but I would still only give it a 5 as it is at least attempts a Magnificent 7 in space type film. This was just a waste of space.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, can't argue because, yeah, it's Snyder. Like you don't expect much, if anything, from him. The dude's the most talentless hack in Hollywood history. Like,
Better an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
yeah, because at least Shyamalan does have plots in his movies. I'm not saying they're good plots. I'm not saying they're creative, but like at least at least there's something you're watching. Snyder, you can't even say that. It's like, dude, what are you even doing? But the problem with Snyder is he's high on his own farts. Anyways, next movie review. 2-star. Madam Web has been dethroned. In my review for Child of Fire, I said it felt like a 2-hour trailer for this movie. I don't know how this managed to be even more dull and boring than that one. The script is so bad. The small amount of dialogue it has is insufferable. The pacing is so bad. It makes an already boring movie even worse. There's a part of the movie that is montage, small bit of normal scene, more montage, another small bit of normal scene. It's hard to get through. The relationship between the main team is almost non-existent. You made a whole movie about them meeting, and in the second movie, they still barely talk with each other. In the final battle, one of them tells another, "If I must die," and the other says, "Together." And it's genuinely the first time they spoke with each other. The exposition is done so horribly. There's literally a scene where they go around a table and each of them does a summary of their origin story as it's shown in flashbacks. When most of them are done, one of them actually says, "What about you? You haven't told your story." Final Battle has some nice sequences, but it's filled with just over-dramatized moments of sacrifice and death, because these characters are basically cardboard. There are some cool shots, some with the robot Jimmy, but that's all they are. Shots that look cool. Zero significance, because we barely see him in the darn movie. And to finish the fight comes that rebellion that was shown for like 5 minutes in the first movie. Yeah, the guy with the face paint, they just appear. No idea who called them. I don't know how they know there was a fight. They just show up. I don't know if I missed the part where they were called, because by then I was half asleep. Dude, if you're not completely asleep, you're not watching these movies right. Then obviously there's setup for the third movie. Yeah, I was committed to the 2 parts. I don't have another one of these in me. Yeah, can't blame them. Okay.
I can't help but think of the Hulk movies.
Yeah, I know. All right. Dan's got the next one.
3-star. Absolute tosh.
Tosh.
What a load of tosh. I didn't feel any connection with any of the cliched two-dimensional characters, so didn't care when any of them died. However, it gets a few stars for great visuals and CGI, the satisfying splashy lava effect of the blasters, and the light trail effect of the lightsabers. The coolest moment was the James the Mech with his cloak and his One Punch Man moment. Half the movie was the farmers harvesting wheat, and after one day of combat training, got a better kill-death ratio than any of the veterans. The other half of the movie was a guy turning the little wheel to aim the dreadnought cannon. Remind me to never watch any more Snyder movies on Netflix.
Okay. Now, we have the next review, which is Doesn't apparently... I can't see a star on it. What a shame IMDb does not have a 0 rating. Wow. Little house on the prairie space with Celtic music while harvesting wheat for an army who technologically has conquered space travel and clearly depends on flour. A bit of classical music with violins at the betrayal and killing of the king scene because why not? If you are going to copy famous sci-fi movies, also make sure to copy their music style and the Cantina band. Forgettable characters and villagers who in 48 hours became killing machines, hilarious dialogues just to fill time, without meaning or impact. As for the costumes, Baroque costumes in space. I'll just stop here. A copy paste gone bad. Pretty bad. Okay. Um, we have a 6 star that's next, but let's have Dan still read it because why not? We might as well be fair.
Movie.
Yeah, forgettable movie.
Rebel Moon Part 2 is unfortunately just as underwhelming as Part 1.
Wow.
The technical aspect of the movie is fine. Great CGI and cinematography. Although the way Snyder uses focus and blur is quite odd. Everything not in the middle of the screen is often weirdly blurry. Artistic choice, I suppose. Story-wise, it's a very predictable movie with no surprises whatsoever. The heroes are heroes and the villains are villains, so don't expect any twists and turns. It's also a fairly boring story, to be honest, and the harvest part seems to drag on for far too long. That said, it's a decent action movie if there's nothing better to watch. 6 out of 10 is a bit generous on my part, but 5 would be too low. In short, don't expect too much, and you may find it to be an okay movie.
Yeah. I think 5's too generous. Next one.
From the sound of it, the opening scene from Spaceballs with Spaceballs 1 passing through is fast compared to this.
Maybe. Probably more interesting too. Because this is just such a disgrace. And it's just this is such a disgrace of a film. Then again, the only way you can describe Zack Snyder is just disgrace, because he is a disgrace as far as how do I put it? As far as characters, well, as far as writing and creativity and whatnot, the dude's the worst. But on the other hand, I'm a little relieved he's out there because he's proof you can't sink any lower. And this means that no matter how much you might feel like a failure or something, you can't do worse than him. You know what I mean? As bad as it could be, you're not Snyder, is what I mean. So, so there is something to be relieved about with regards to his very existence. So he does serve, I guess, a purpose in life. Though I do wish he would stop making movies. Just pure and simple. All right, next one. I love the title. 1 star. Absolutely putrid. What a horrible movie. The first one was a hot mess, but somehow this one was worse. I've never seen such an overuse of slow motion. It has ruined that effect for me now. Going forward, whenever I see something in slow motion, I will think of this garbage. I don't understand how a fairly decent writer-director can be given a freight train full of cash and produce 2 absolutely putrid movies. Dude, he's not fairly decent. He's one of the worst, maybe even the worst director in history. Uwe Boll is better than this schmuck. I will be extremely hesitant to watch anything from Zack Snyder in the future. You should have been hesitant from the beginning. I honestly can't believe how bad these movies are. They make the worst Star Wars films look like masterpieces. Wow. If you feel like watching something literally anything else, it's just crap. Okay, you're up.
6 stars. 2 movies and still no plot. The Snyder trademarks are all here in abundance. Endless slow-mo, rousing vocal score, long close-ups, etc. The cliched and uninteresting characters also dominate the proceedings. It's very hard to care about anyone here. The second half is basically one big battle, which is actually well done.
Yeah, right.
The action is frenetic and realistic for the most part, and
No, it's not.
more real than most of Snyder's back catalog.
Yeah, this guy's trying to cope.
It's a shame that the first half is so dull and silly, with a forced backstory scene where the main characters basically retell their lives in cheesy flashbacks taking up a ridiculous amount of time. It's worth watching for the visuals and action, but don't expect much more.
Yeah, you shouldn't have expected anything from the very beginning. This is quite frankly, like, you're looking down the barrel of the worst director of all times. Like, you should have, like, oops, you should have just said no. It's like with drugs. Just say no to Zack Snyder. Say no. Because at the end of the day, are you really doing some, like, you're kind of punishing yourself. And when you watch this trash, all right, so let's move to the next review. Oh my gosh, 3 stars. How can it be worse than the first? In a world where mankind travels in spaceships next to black holes, a bunch of people and animals dragging a spaceship around must be the lowest point of the movie. Story is total trash. Didn't make sense from the first part. Ain't getting better in the second. Characters are totally unrelatable. Okay, real quick, everyone. Relatability for characters is unimportant. Because if you need to see yourself in a character, I'm not sure I fully agree that's the best way to read a story. You can aspire after a character. I'm not saying you can't relate to them, but what I would argue is characters should inspire, should move. For example, Andy Dufresne is not a relatable character. He's basically Jesus. But he's supposed to inspire. He's supposed to move you. And if you look at a character like Anakin Skywalker, you're supposed to be moved by his story. Relating to him might not be the best thing to do. You look at even Frodo. Like, that's my point. I don't mind people who relate, but when you put that as the only thing of importance for how you read or watch a show or something, I think you're missing out on a lot of other possible ways of interpreting a story or a character. But that digression aside, their backstories and motivations complete nonsense, irrelevant, and told in a very boring manner. The dialogue was so cringe and bland, it makes you turn off the volume. And how easy it must be to make a 2 hour movie when 70% of it is slow motion. How can you have a carriage that floats on a thin area, but needs a horse-like animal to drag it around? Yeah, that's a good point. Um, okay, the next article is A War Over Wheat. So Dan will read that one. It's a 2-star review.
Yes, a whole war over a literal ton of wheat in a bunch of Hessian bags.
Dan, I'm going to stop you there.
No,
Dan, I'm going to stop you. They have 3 watermelons. Okay, can they just have their watermelon back? That's what it is. Right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
This overflowing wannabe Western porta potty of tripe
Oh,
is a
wow.
festival of ridiculous, wildly contrasting, and grotesquely incompatible ideas. Very good description.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Energy weapons that reload like cowboy western guns, fighting alongside Conan using his axes. Soldiers that cannot hit a target in a 1 by 2 meter passage. High-tech ships that smoke like they are diesel powered. Soldiers that behave like they were hired as extras on an F-grade sci-fi film. Oh wait, that's true.
Yeah.
Fight scenes with energy weapons so close quarters that the fighters would rather hit their enemies with their rifle than shoot them. It's so insanely ridiculous I nearly chewed through my own foot out of frustration.
Wow.
Then the monologue. Lectured by warriors given to villagers they just met minutes before. More lectures and 20-second tragic backstories that will make you wish the warriors telling them were rather killed on the spot by the evil empire who apparently kill just for sport and have no real motivation. Acting so wooden and hollow you'll feel like you're watching a play about herding sheep performed by the Society of Gravediggers at your local down bowling alley on a Wednesday night during happy hour.
Wow.
If you like this film, please, for the love of humanity, do not procreate.
That one was awesome. Yeah. We really must
That's
stress.
definitely a 4-star review.
Yeah. That one was really good review. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. Ah, okay.
So,
That was one of my favorite reviews. How about you?
shout out to you, C166er.
Yeah. Gosh, that was a great review. Um, okay, the next one's a bit of a rehash. Um, here we go. Slow motion harvesting. I am thoroughly disappointed, and I've come to realize that I may never watch another one of his films again. It has become increasingly clear that his films consistently lack meaningful plot progression and substantial character arcs. The repetitive film sequences and copy and pasting for me have become boring to watch. It sucks to watch his body of work, which fails to bring anything new to the table. The persistent use of slow motion effects seems more a stylistic crutch than a narrative necessity. The excessive reliance on CGI in these slow motion scenes, which add nothing of value, is confusing. Additionally, particularly the editing was underwhelming, glaring continuity errors in the scenes. I even saw the dull end of an axe slice a throat. These are not mere oversights, they significantly detract from the film's credibility. I had high hopes that part 2 might redeem the cinematic tragedy of part 1, but instead it confirmed my reservations. This film feels more like a visual spectacle, devoid of soul than a coherent narrative. Why make a story in 2 parts, 2 hours apiece, and prioritize flashy visuals over compelling storytelling? Yeah, you tell me. Dan, next one.
One of the absolute dumbest films I have ever forced myself to watch.
Wow.
Wow. Stockholm much?
Yeah.
Sure, it looks stunning. An absolutely visually gorgeous film, sometimes. The acting, however, is laughable. The story seems to be written by a 15-year-old in a freshman creative writing class. Hey, I've actually seen even middle schoolers write very compelling stories.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So this is no, like you can't say this is like a certain age group or something, because every age group can write better than this trash.
It appears as if the dialogue has been intentionally cut in many places. Maybe so Wacky Zaki can get his director's cut released. As in ridiculous. This cut in dialogue makes the film feel vapid. It makes the film seem childish and lacking in emotional depth.
Stop reading it like you're an AI.
At the beginning of the film, when they explain, there's just 6 of them, I had a realization that this story is nothing new. It's a copy and paste Magnificent 7 space adventure. Stealing ideas from real creatives came before. It offers nothing new. No cutting edge, no edge of my seat thrills, a true waste of time in production and viewing. I am really disappointed in this film. No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
As I expected better from such an acclaimed director and cast. I think I am done with Snyder. He should have stuck with turning Army of the Dead into a series, in my opinion.
He should have just stuck to flipping burgers, in my opinion. Okay. 2-star. We don't know how bad the damage was. Slow motion farming, slow motion water refilling, brain bag filling, falling, dying, you name it. This is unnecessary slow motion, the movie. And while this sequel is easier to swallow, it continues a hollow story of unlikable characters and less time for world building. Doesn't excuse the lack of it. Rebel Moon has gotten 4 hours and has done nothing with it. Character backgrounds coming out halfway during the second movie is inexcusable and poor writing. And I still don't buy the displayed camaraderie. Anyway, if Hallmark made sci-fi films, I would believe this to be one of them. Not sure why I gave it a chance, as I feel I've wasted my time again. Hey, don't knock Hallmark movies. They can be good. They've got a lot.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, they've got a lot of merit. And at one time, Hallmark made better movies and TV shows than most others did. Remember, 10th Kingdom, Merlin 1998, The Snow Queen. These are classics. These are great stories and cinematic masterpieces. So don't knock Hallmark.
And
They would never
make a
greenlight.
lot of good romantic comedies and Christmas specials.
Yeah, those are pretty good. So, yeah, don't knock them. Anyways, Dan will read the last review.
Hold my beer. I thought part 1 of Rebel Moon was horrible, but part 2 literally said, hold my beer, and then proceeded to do the impossible.
No, Dan.
Take millions of dollars in budget.
No, it's hold my soy latte. Given this movie and this director. Go.
Yeah. Hold my soy latte, and then proceeded to do the impossible. Take millions of dollars in budget, hire the best special effects artists, great actors, and commence to shoot a movie with the most ill-conceived, disjointed, illogical, and atrociously paced storyline imaginable. I'm the biggest Star Wars fan ever, and after reading Rebel Moon was originally meant to be a Star Wars project, I thought this would be at least somewhat watchable. I really wanted to like these 2 movies. But this was the latest nonsensical writing I've ever seen in my life. It's rare for me to literally hate a movie, but this one definitely falls into that category. Why? Because the movie is insulting. Insulting because there are great writers and filmmakers out there.
Go.
Insulting because there are great writers and filmmakers out there worth their weight in gold. But Hollywood instead keeps giving millions to this Zack Snyder hack to keep churning out crap fest after crap fest. No wonder Hollywood is in trouble. It's run by morons.
Hey, don't insult morons. Uh, even a moron could have figured out, you know, that this was a joke and that, there's no hope for Snyder. But these people are imbeciles because there's a pecking order. There's morons, then there's imbeciles at the total bottom. And yeah, honestly, better a Michael Bay movie than a Zack Snyder movie. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, can somebody just send this guy back to flipping burgers? Although he probably screwed that one up too. So
Yeah.
it's annoying how someone like this could actually be worth millions, but he's not contributed anything to literature or cinema. It is so bizarre. But anyways, you know who has contributed to something to literature? Us. Check out our Crown of Blood book and make sure to buy a copy and read it because it's pretty darn good fantasy fare. A lot better than anything Zack Snyder could put
And
out.
no slow.
Yeah, no
And there's
slow
no
mo.
slow motion parts.
No, there isn't. And it at least has better dialogue, better writing, better characters, better everything. Because nobody can screw up quite as badly as Zack freaking Snyder. And if you enjoyed this video, and even if you didn't, buy the book and smash that subscribe button.